Hello and welcome back to the Spruce Grove Public Library's YouTube channel. I'm Sarah, the children's librarian here, and we are continuing with our Global Read Aloud 2018, and we are reading Love, Hate and Other Filters. Now, in our last post, we put up chapter 1, so we are going to continue with chapter 2 today. It is pretty freezing outside, so I've got my scarf on in my office, so brrr. So just excuse me, and I'll do the best I can. So we are going to start with chapter 2, as I said. So it starts off with a little snippet, so we're going to read the little snippet first. So the young man studies his face in the mirror. The scruff on his chin makes him look boyish. A kid dressing up as a grown-up for Halloween. Only the bruise-coloured circles under his eyes betray his age. It's a step in the right direction. His fingers vibrate with the soft buzz of the clippers. Waves of thick black hair fall into the rusty basin. When finished, he moves his hand across the top of his stubbly head, pausing briefly at the scar halfway down the back of his scalp. A souvenir care of his father's belt buckle, the past made visible. His mother, who loves his hair, will be devastated. He scowls, curling back his lips to bare his teeth. It doesn't matter. She will never see him again. And then we go on to chapter 2, the main part. And it starts off with some kind of text messaging, so it's kind of weird reading it aloud. But it says, Kareem, the party wasn't the same once you left. Me? Oh, you say that to all the documentarians, don't you? Kareem. Only the cute, irreverent ones. So rereading Kareem's flirty text in bed, I still feel the touch of his hand on my skin. It's all a little cliche for my taste. The words on the phone, the silly smile I can't get rid of, but so is being 17 and unkissed. Kareem, are you a doc film purist? Me. I love old classics and foreign films too, but I can always find something to mock in a blockbuster. Kareem. In other words, you're open to temptation. Me. Totally depends on the tempter. That dialogue is even unfolding like a screenplay. We had the meet cute, so I allowed us the full rom-com text treatment this weekend. Now it's Monday morning and I'm second-guessing right on schedule. Staring up at Aishwarya Rai on the Pride and Prejudice poster above my bed, a typically well-meaning and completely misguided gift attempt from my mom, I hope I'm not getting ahead of myself. But maybe that's the message my mom meant to send with this poster. It's a Desi Pride and Prejudice. You love that book. But it's better because they're singing and dancing. She left out the part about obedient daughters and no kissing. The all-important subtext, she literally clapped when I agreed to hang it on my wall. I sigh. You probably always know what to say to the cute boy, don't you, Aishwarya? I whisper. I mean, you probably don't even need to speak. You just bat your beguiling eyes. Maya, come eat some breakfast before school, my mom yells up. I wonder if she heard me. Everyone at the party was telling me you're so thin, she adds. There is no acceptable in-between for Hyderabadi mums. You're either too skinny or a little too chubby. I scurry to get ready. I pull on my favourite blue V-neck sweater over a pair of skinny jeans. I search through my jewellery box and come up with an orange and blue beaded choker and a pair of silver crescent moon earrings from Hina. I dab a little mineral bronzer on my cheeks and rub a reddish-brown gloss on my lips. Before I walk out of my room, I wink at Aishwarya, perpetually cool and confident. Maybe there's a kiss in my future after all, Aishwarya, but maybe lots of kissing. I don't want to eat, but my mom hovers in the kitchen, and she always hovers. I wolf down a little cereal for her benefit. Let me make you an omelette, she says. You're skin and bones, skin and bones. I'm not hungry, and Violet's going to be driving up any second. She waves a wooden spoon in her hand. Not hungry. How can you go to school on 2 bites of cereal? You need to take care of yourself better. I'm not going to be here forever, you know. And then what will you do with no one to look after you? You can't cook a thing. That's why God invented takeout. My mother blinks, her face blank. She should be used to my snark by now. These days, honestly, she just seems bewildered by me. I'm an eternal stranger forced to reintroduce herself to one bon mot at a time. Lucky for me, the silence is broken by 3 telltale honks from the driveway. Violet, my escape. I'll take an apple with me, okay? And don't forget, I'm working after school. I'll need your car. Goodafi? I'm halfway out of the door. We need to put cooking on your biodata, my mum yells after me. No suitable boy will marry you if you can't cook. Counting on it, I whisper to myself. Music pulses from Violet's vintage Carmen Gia. A gift from her dad shortly after they moved to Batavia, Illinois, from New York City. An orange paint and vanilla interior reminds me of a creamsicle. Sometimes I have the urge to dart out my tongue and lick the hood and see if it tastes like summer. Violet tosses her blonde hair over her shoulder and bats her eyelashes. This is Violet. She will flirt with anyone, even me. How's the dance, I ask. It's courtesy. I don't need to fish for juicy gossip. I know Violet's been chomping at the bit to tell me in person. Did Mike fawn all over you? Violet rolls her eyes and backs out of the driveway. Mike's been crushing on Violet since she moved here freshman year. Clearly the guy's an optimist. You know you love the attention, I tell her. You're right, I do. And with a laugh, she shifts into drive and heads towards the school. But it got a little wild, but she's still smiling. You missed the fight. The fight, I repeat. My cinematic imagination immediately takes over. As in droplets of blood bouncing off the well-buffed wood floor of the gym, she groans. You should listen to yourself talk sometimes, Maya. I know how brilliant I sound, I shoot back dryly. So what happened? No blood, but plenty of drama. Violet glances at me. It was Phil and Lisa. My heart thumps a bit. Phil, I repeat before realising I neglected to add Lisa to my question. Violet nods. Apparently something is rotten in the state of super coupledom. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but Lisa made a huge scene of stomping out of the gym during a slow dance. A flaw in the perfection of Phil and Lisa is like my parents allowing me to go to prom, even if I had a date. Impossible. I almost sit on my hands to prevent the ridiculous gesticulations I want to make. I'm a whirling dervish of what-ifs. Maybe this means Phil will be available for prom, Violet raises her eyebrows at me. For a certain hot yet unassuming and often exacting Indian chick. Whatever. Well, why not? Violet prods. I mean, you had a thing for him forever. Like, literally forever. I nod my head. It's not that I had a thing for him for any amount of time. I may have just said I thought he was hot once. Revisionist. Violet interrupts. Saying Phil is hot is not a confession. It's a profound grasp of the obvious. You like him, admit it. Phil and I have known each other since kindergarten, but we've never really been close or truly friends. Then, in health class last semester, the teacher assigned us to be partners for a project on aging in America. We had to record oral histories from senior citizens in a retirement home. I braced myself to do all the work, but Phil showed up and charmed everyone, and I remember looking over at him talking to one of the oldest residents at the home. He held her hand and listened to her so intently and smiled at her with this dimple in his cheek. He charmed me too. And since then, he's occasionally sidled up to me for a lunch-line chat while he chomps on a basket of cafeteria fries. The conversations aren't deep or anything, and only last 5 or 6 fries, but still, they leave me a little breathless and focusing a little too cleanly on that dimple. I know better than to read into it. Phil is taken. Extremely. Or is he? Regardless, we inhabit separate planets. I take AP classes and blast Florence plus the Machines in my earbuds, and Phil is the quarterback and homecoming king. Seriously, that's what he is. And at Batavia High School, never the twain shall meet. I plead the fifth, I finally said. I look out the window. If I don't change the subject, Violet's enthusiasm will feed my tiny hopes and I will implode from possibilities. And Phil is impossible, beautiful, and impossible. Through middle school, he was this gawky and goofy kid with a cute smile, but every year since, he's grown into himself and grown on me, especially since our health class project first semester. So who was this wedding guy you texted about? Any actual details? And by the time we reach school, I've shared all the flirty memories about Kareem, not Phil, that I know will thrill Violet. Kareem's whispers and innuendo, his hand on my back, and the PG-13 rated suggestive texts we exchanged after the wedding. She jerks to an abrupt halt in the parking lot and turns to face me. He's Indian, goes to Princeton and took your number. And you're not jumping out of your seat. Why? And he's Muslim, I add for full effect. He sounds like your parents' wet dream. Violet says, noting my disgust, she said, it's a metaphor. All I'm saying is he sounds perfect on paper and he's older, which is hot. I allow myself a smile. Well, he's definitely more available, I admit, and suitable. Suitable, she laughs. You sound like your mom. I know, but all my iconoclastic eggs are in the NYU basket, and I can't fight my mum on every front. Violet shrugs and takes the keys out of the ignition. One battle at a time, I get it. After filing in with the other kids, we drop our bags at our lockers and grab our books for first period. I pause to look at my locker mirror and run a comb through my long hair. I don't need to, since my hair is generally tangle-free, but combing my hair has this calming effect on me. It's a morning ritual. My locker is decorated with a poster of Edward from Twilight, circa 2008, courtesy of Phil, actually. My last semester, he heard me tell a friend in health class I refused to see Twilight even though she considered it a classic. Phil jumped into the conversation to give me a hard time about it. He claimed he liked it, after all. And the next morning, I found this postcard taped to my locker. On the back, he wrote, "Sparkly Vampires Rule." He didn't sign his name, but when I looked around, he was at his locker watching and grinning. It's embarrassing to keep a public display of affection for Edward, but I can never bring myself to get rid of it. So, my answer to this unwarranted Team Edward affiliation was to identify with Team Kubrick. Specifically, the famous and terrifying scene with The Shining, where Jack Nicholson's demonic smile and bulging eyes appeared through a splintering door. I positioned it so it looks like he is leering at Edward. Plausible deniability. Below that is a Wilco concert poster, and of course I've never been to a concert because I'm not allowed. But when I dream about going to a show, Jeff Tweedy is crooning, "I'm trying not to break your heart." Or I'm trying to break your heart. "Hey, Maya!" I spy Phil's reflection in my mirror. Hair artfully dishevelled, grin adorably rakish, and dimple bed. I try to embody Aishwarya, hoping her elegance and nonchalance will rub off. "Oh, hey, Phil." It works. I utter 3 perfect syllables. Total grace under pressure. "Listen, I want to ask you a favour," Phil says while tapping a pencil against his left cheek. "I'm wondering if you might..." I wonder if he's looking for Lisa, worried she'll see us talking. "Lay on, Macduff," I say. I'm a bit terse. And I'm quoting Macbeth. I'm in high school. I have to stop quoting Shakespeare. At this rate, what will I have to look forward to in college? "Can you help me with my independent study paper for Miss Jensen's class? I have to read The Namesake, and you thought I'd know everything about it because I'm Indian." His request catches me by surprise. A good surprise, but also totally annoying. "No, I mean, maybe. Sorry, I didn't mean. I know you like to read," Phil stammers, and it's actually a little endearing to catch him off guard. I do love that book. The movie too, but it's not only because I'm Indian, you know. Like, do you like every movie that's about football? "Every single one," he says without missing a beat, back to form, including documentaries. I start to laugh. "Okay." Phil grins and the dimple appears. "As in, okay, you'll help me?" I nod, looking down. I don't want to stare, and on the other hand, he's staring at me. "Hiya, Phil." Violet materializes at my elbow, loudly. "Hey, Violet, I'm walking Maya to first period, unless of course you want to abscond with her." My head jerks up. My mortification is complete. "Sure," Phil says, and he stumbles to correct himself. "No, I gotta get to class too." I shut my locker, ready to escape, and I turn to Violet. "Let's go." "See ya, Phil," and we start to walk away. "So maybe tonight Phil calls after me?" I turn my head to look back at him. "I'm working at the bookstore until 7. I'll swing by then." I meet cute with a suitable Indian boy, the hot football player at my locker. I feel queasy. I was joking with myself earlier, but now I'm wondering how it's possible that I've stepped into the most predictable teen rom-com ever. How is this my real life? But I go on with it, my mind playing a slow-motion close-up of Phil walking down the hall. An improbable gust of wind ruffles his just long enough, perfectly mussed chestnut hair. Low-key lighting casts intriguing shadows in the hall, and my filmic version of Phil turns to look at me, his twinkling green eyes catching mine. Sure, it's all my imagination, except the last part. He really did turn to look. And that's the end of chapter 2. So do join us again, and we will carry on with this book. It's pretty good so far. And just in case you weren't paying attention, it is called Love, Hate and Other Filters. And it is one of the books for the Global Read Aloud 2018. And it's one of our book picks for October for our teen book club, our virtual reading club on Instagram. So if you haven't already joined, where have you been? Come join us and we will carry on with some of our awesome books. And if you need any help getting a copy of the book or anything else, come visit us at the library or give us a shout. Thanks. Take care and see you soon.